you feeling down, sad, or depressed? Feeling unwanted, unloved, or alone? If any of those resonate with you, I want this video to be a reminder to you that you are not alone. There are millions of people out there today who could relate and who are there to support you. And it's important when we're feeling those ways, no matter how difficult it is, to reach out to other people. And so today's video, we're going to talk just briefly about the importance of community, the aspects of connecting with other people that are really important and I think crucial in our mental health. If you're feeling unwanted, unloved, and alone, I think you'll find that a vast majority of people these days are feeling that way. And I was talking with some friends the other day as to whether or not that has anything to do with social media or the digital age and people not connecting in groups as much anymore. And if that's the case for you, if you're in the mindset of like, I'm going to go to work and then when I come home, I'm going to watch TV or just get on my phone, and that's 5-6 days a week for you and you don't have a lot of social connections, let this be a reminder to you to get a hobby, right? To get a community of people, to get out there. And I know how hard that is. I know how hard it can be. But these things exist and they're out there established waiting for you right now. And the people who engage in those things, they're thriving. They're doing well. And there's also a number of people who they found those things because they weren't doing well. And so you'll be in good company. Now, when you go to join a new community, unless it's a 12-step recovery group or a mental health support group, you're probably not going to have a lot of room to talk about your emotional distress. And I want to just caution also that it's probably not the best to go and maybe get involved in like a recreational sport and start talking about all of your emotional distress. I would caution against that, but you don't have to talk about your emotional distress because being around groups of people are going to help with that immensely, and there'll be so many other things to talk about. And part of the benefit of getting out into a community is to get your mind off of the distress. And I can't stress that enough. We live in a day and age where I think because this information is so accessible on the internet and in books and anywhere that you look, you can find information on mental health. Everybody talks about it all the time. And as a therapist, what I would like to stress is that sometimes we need spaces where we don't have to talk about it. We can just be. And how important that is to just be with other people. So some really crucial ways you can do that if you got family members around, is to invite them over for meals, go to their house for meals, go and see a movie with them, get out on the town and do something with family members. If you don't have family members around or maybe you don't want to spend time with them, is to find a hobby that you're really interested in and Google what community aspects are available to you in your area. If you're beyond a point of like, I just need people and I'm actually really in distress, I would really highly recommend that you find a support group in your area, whether it's paid or free. There are millions of them out there, and get involved in a small group where you can talk through the distress uniquely that you're experiencing. I have clients that have obsessive compulsive disorders. They have support groups for that. I have clients who have bipolar disorders. They're in support groups for that. I have clients who have eating disorders. They're in support groups for that. I have clients who are struggling with substance use. Well, they have 12-step groups for that. I have friends and family members of alcoholics on my clinical caseload, and they go to Al-Anon or Codependent Anonymous. There are support groups out there waiting for you, and I don't know if there's a whole lot of information out there that just says simply get involved with people. And so as a clinician, I'll tell you, over my 12 years experience, the ones on my caseload, the clients on my caseload who do really well are thriving in community. They're engaged with other people and they're putting themselves out there. And man, it can be really hard to do that. I've got clients who really struggle to connect with people. And I've met a lot of people like that. And in my own ways, I've struggled with those kind of things. But I'll tell you, there's nothing more important than getting yourself out there and connecting with people in a community and being around like-minded people who enjoy having you there. And I promise you this, no matter how introverted you think you are, how introverted you actually are, how extroverted you think you are, or how extroverted you actually are, people will want you there if you go to engage, because that's how those things work. Without people, then there's no reason to get together, right? So get yourself out there and have a good time. And I'll put it like this. Why is it so important to be a part of a community? Well, we have basic needs as human beings. And we know the three major ones: food, water, shelter. If you've got those three met, which I'm assuming you do because you're watching a YouTube video of a therapist, and I would imagine you're probably not doing that with an uncharged phone living on the street, right? So you've got your basic needs met. So once our basic needs are met, we transition into emotional needs. And at the top of emotional needs of that hierarchy, the top two are companionship and community. So if you don't have companionship, what a better way to find companionship than to go be a part of a community, and maybe through those shared interests find someone that you connect with in those ways. But before you get to companionship, thank goodness that there's community, people where there's no pressure, right, other than to have a good time and to get around other people. Some of my favorites, right, and I know these are a bit targeted, but in today's culture, I don't think they're as abstract. I think there's a ton of people who need these programs, and those are 12-step programs, right? Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous for people struggling with substances, Al-Anon for friends and family members of alcoholics. And if we were to just stop there with those three community programs, I think we would hit a vast majority of the population who would qualify for those programs. But I'll also share this, is those programs are not for people who need it. They're programs for people who want support. They're programs for people who want community. Those are programs for people who want answers to their struggles. If you're not wanting to approach those things, or you feel like, hey, I don't think I would qualify for those things, then a simple Google search, I do this with my clients all the time, I'll literally have them pull up on the computer, support groups near me, all right, or recreational sports and community near me, or board game groups near me, right? Google is a wonderful tool. It's a wonderful place to find groups of people that are doing things that you enjoy. And, that's back in the day, that's how I found my first board game group. I'm a huge fan of board games. My recreation room behind me has just a closet full of board games. And I found my first group on Google, and phenomenal people, wonderful friends. And we had a great time for years doing those things. And then, I found my next board game groups through other support groups. But the point being, connect with people, and I think you're going to find that you feel better by getting yourself out there. So to recap from the beginning, if you're just going to work, coming home, and you're spending time only with your spouse, or only with your significant other, or only with the family members you live with, or you live alone and you're just spending time on your own, that is a huge factor as to why you might be feeling distress. It's not the only factor, but it's one worth talking about. So if you're lacking community, let this be a message, hopefully, that encourages you to get out there and connect with people. And as always, if you're struggling with your mental health, emotional well-being, or you feel like you're in distress, reach out. Reach out for therapy. Go online and find a therapist in your area. If you're struggling with substances, find a 12-step meeting. They're free. They'll help you find sobriety and long-term recovery. If you're a friend or family member of someone who struggles with substances, check out Al-Anon. It's a program for friends and family members of alcoholics, and it'll help you gain the answers and information you're looking for as to how to take care of yourself. So those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear more of your thoughts in the comments about community and how you're out there connecting, and maybe share some resources with people so that they can connect too. Other than that, that's all I got. Take care.